Good morning. Morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Coffee Chat Show. Coming to you live from the Green Mountains of Vermont. Good morning, Tanya. Good morning, everybody. We will let you catch up with the fact that we are now live and online. We will start our podcast recording. For those of you that don't know, the Coffee Chat Show runs every Saturday morning live here on Facebook. We then take it and we put it up on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. We also record the audio, and that becomes a podcast. So if you are unable to catch us live on Facebook, you can still listen later on in the day, or later next week, or whenever the mood strikes you. Good morning, Melissa. Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Coffee Chat Show. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Grab a notebook. You will want to make some notes of this morning's conversation. Good morning, Buffy. Buffy joins us from California. She gets up at the crack of dawn to catch Coffee Chat. Good morning, Christina. So for those of you that are new, we do the Coffee Chat Show every Saturday morning live. Good morning, Erica. And we are progressive, so you may have missed Good Morning, Christopher. You may have missed a few coffee chats prior to this. I've been doing this for years now. However, for the month of October, we are running in sort of a cycle, I guess you would call it. We are working on Good Morning, Angie. Morning, everybody. Oh, Jude, yay. Good morning. Good morning, Trista. So what we're working on for October into November and December and part of January. Oh, and we have someone from Zambia. Good morning, Marie Michelle from Zambia joining us. How cool. Chantel, good morning. Amanda, good morning. We are working on how to get your life from where it is to where you want it to be. From taking yourself, Amanda from Worcester, nice. I grew up in Massachusetts, in Boston, actually, in Cape Cod. Good morning, Dorothy. So planning your future, getting yourself, recognizing that you are the leader of your own life and taking you from where you are to where you want to be. So on October 2nd, we talked about planning your future and asking yourself a couple of questions, such as what do you want and what's getting in the way of that. On October 9th, which was last week, we talked about what do you need to eliminate. And we talked about, so what do you need to eliminate is in two parts. Good morning, Dodie, Bonnie, Janet, hello. What you need to eliminate, part one was last week. We talked about stuff. We talked about cleaning things out, clothes that no longer serve you, junk that no longer serves you, what's in your space that no longer serves you, get rid of it, etc. Good morning, Mary, Ann. This morning is an important conversation, which I think if you're really listening and you take some notes, it could be life-changing for you. So I want to dive right into that. So grab your notebook. For those of you, again, just tuning in, welcome to the Coffee Chat Show. We run every Saturday morning live here on Facebook. We record the audio and put it up as a podcast. We put the video up on Facebook and it stays there in our video section. And we also take the videos and put them up on YouTube on our YouTube channel. So there's no way, even if you miss the live video, you can still catch the show and you can still grab a notebook and you can still have the content make a difference to you. So you can find everything you need to know about us and me at revealingleaders.com. Good morning, Lynn Marie. Good morning, everybody. Revealingleaders.com, you can go check it out. For those of you that don't know me and haven't been following along, this is what I do for a give back. This is my fun side project, Revealing Leaders and the Working Warrior Mom. I am a business consultant by day and the CEO of a large staffing workforce development company as well as the CEO and founder of a business consulting digital marketing company. So Revealing Leaders and the Working Warrior Mom is my gift to all of you. I get up every Saturday morning. I put together content. I have a whole team I run it from my own. We don't have any sponsors at the moment. I pay for all of this myself. This is my gift to you. I'm telling you that because use it. Use my gift. Get a notebook. Write stuff down. Pay attention to what I'm telling you. These success principles and the tools that I give you have the ability to change your life if you're paying attention, if you're willing to do the work. All right. That being said, Peggy Whitstock, good morning. Grab a notebook, okay? And if you haven't been watching Coffee Chat in October, maybe you just joined us again, maybe you've never seen us before, I encourage you to go back to October 2nd, watch October 2nd, watch October 9th. You are, of course, welcome to go back several years and watch them all. In October, good morning, Liz. In October, we came back with a new way of doing it. We are actually running Coffee Chat as a live class. And we are actually talking about, the content a month ahead to get you ready and prepared and have you have a trajectory to follow along. So, all that being said, again, we are working on, for the month of October, November, December, and into January, planning for your future, how to create the life that you want, how to move what's in your way out of your way, and the actions and things and tools that you can enact to make a difference in your own life. Good morning, Jennifer. All right, good morning, everybody. So, I think everybody is with us. Grab your notebook, and we're going to dive right into talking about what stops you and what gets in your way, right? So, last week we talked about what do you need to eliminate, and we talked about that. I told you to start thinking about the habits and behaviors and thought patterns that are no longer serving you. So I tasked you with that last week to think about, because we're going to delve into that today. Last week, we really covered in your physical space, what's in your way, what's no longer serving you, what do you need to get rid of. You'll see in the comments that some people have cleaned out cabinets and apartments and basements and attics and drawers and all of that. So that all came from our conversation last week. Again, I encourage you to go back. Watch October 2nd, watch October 9th, and then rewatch this week if you would like, because it might make a little bit more sense to you. So here's what happens about what stops you. When you are younger, 8, 9, 10, 11, 4, 5, 6, things happen. Perhaps you had some trauma. Perhaps you had unfavorable circumstances. Perhaps you had a rough childhood. Perhaps you had dysfunctionalism in your family. Whatever the case may be. Things happen. You're a particular age, right? And you deal with things using we'll call it a toolbox for lack of a better word at the moment. You deal with those situations from the toolbox that you have available to you. And let's face it, at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever the case may be, your abilities are limited, your wisdom is limited, your capacity is limited. So you make a version of yourself that runs on a conversation, which is usually self-protective and self-preserving. And you operate from there to protect yourself from whatever is happening. You develop survival instincts. And these survival instincts run on conversations, things that you tell yourself. And you create these. My sister-in-law is with us. Good morning, Rosie. You create these conversations and versions of yourself so that you can survive. And if you were in an abusive childhood situation, or you had dysfunctionalism in your family, or you grew up with people that drank too much, such as I did, like we created versions of ourselves so that we could survive whatever was happening at the moment. So all of the things that were in our toolbox back then were very limited, right? Because we were young and we didn't really know, we didn't have all the wisdom and capacity that we have today. We also didn't have the ability to walk away. We didn't have the ability to tell people to F off. We didn't have a lot of abilities, right? Because we were young and we were small and we were limited. So what happens is you create a version of yourself to survive whatever it is that you have to survive. And you also, as you went into your teenage years and your young adulthood, you may have also done this. You may have been in a marriage young that you didn't want, or you may have had a child early that you didn't expect, or you may have had something dramatic happen that you didn't expect, or you may have had trauma that you didn't expect. And you created a version of yourself in there so that you could survive. And you had to, because you had to survive. Now, what's true is, at the age that you are now, be it 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever the case may be, you have a lot more things in your toolbox. You have a lot more things available to you to deal with your life. You also have the ability to walk away from things that no longer serve you. You have the ability to tell people that are unkind to you to get away from you. You have the ability to leave a situation. You have a lot of different wisdoms and abilities now that you didn't have back then. So when you ask yourself the question, what stops you? And what's the underlying conversation that's running your life? And there might be a few. And underlying conversations can look like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I have to scrimp every penny, I can't get away from this, I'm afraid, as to Mary's point there, I'm threatened, I don't know what to do, I can't leave, I have to go along to get along. I'm just giving you some examples, okay? You create these versions of yourself so that you can survive, and they run on these conversations, and then you elevate and you become somebody different, and you grow, into a different version of yourself. However, these other versions of you, they're still under there because you don't recognize them. You're not shining a light on them, okay? You're not, you have to be able to recognize something and acknowledge something in order to let it go and be released from it. So, if something's running you, if there's a version of yourself that you created to survive, and you don't recognize that that version is no longer serving you, if you don't see that you're stuck in your head in something called, I can't get out of here, or I don't have any options, or I don't have any money, or whatever the case may be. Somebody just commented that they got married very, very young. And in that case, maybe the conversation back there was, I don't have what it takes. I can't take care of myself. I can't do it on my own, whatever the case may be. And if you enacted some trauma when you were younger and you had to put up with somebody mistreating you or doing something to you that you were not a party to, you created a version of yourself to survive. You told yourself something in those moments so that you could survive it. And now you don't have to be that person anymore. You don't have to be in survival mode anymore. You are older. You are wiser. You have things available to you. You have skill sets. You have wisdoms. You have options. So as grown-ups, or as more grown up, you can release that stuff. You can release your, okay, here, Michelle's got a good analogy. She said it's like having a DOS system still working in the background of a Windows operating system. It'll slow you down and mess up your current system. Michelle, that's fabulous. That's a fantastic way to describe this. So it's like having two systems that are running you, right? Like on your computer. One is very old and antiquated, and the new one has a lot more capacity and ability to drive ahead, but it's being compromised by the old system. Okay? Melissa's asking, how do you change that? So the first step is to recognize it. The first step is to, get this notebook that I keep telling you guys to get and write these questions down. These conversations won't appear to you like that. Okay? This is inner work that you need to do. So I want to crack into this morning. I want to open up a space for you to look into your own life and start digging around in there to see what's happening. And then they'll come to you. You might wake up one morning and something's running and you're like, oh shit, that's what Noelle was talking about. It's that. Or you might have a dream and remember something and be like, oh my God, it's that. I created that version of myself to survive that thing. And okay, I see what she's, okay. So this isn't like the work that I do with people. And here's why I do a coffee chat show every Saturday morning. Because I have a job. I work probably 80 hours a week or more. I don't have to do this. I don't make any money from this. I don't have sponsors for this. I just am doing this. I'm giving you my time. The reason I do it is because I was taught things and I know certain tools and behaviors and things that have the ability to change your life. And the best way I can think of to give you this material is to get on here every Saturday morning and tell it to you straight up. Now, what you do with that is up to you. The reason that I drive it every Saturday morning is because frequently you will pay a lot of money to take a seminar or you'll read a book or you'll watch a webinar and you get all charged up about what they're talking about. And then you go back to your regular life and the people in there don't know what the hell you were talking about. They didn't have the same breakthrough. And you don't have anywhere to keep that fresh conversation going unless you want to pay thousands of dollars to take the next training. And you lose it because you don't have anybody to help you work with it. I've done all those trainings from the time I was 13 years old. I did 2 decades of landmark education. I've done Dale Carnegie. I've done the Sterling Institute Relationship Seminar. I've done all kinds of trainings and they were fabulous. And what I recognized out of all those things is that you've got to have a constant conversation going on. And a lot of people can't afford to spend the money to get into the, those trainings and self-development stuff. So I do this coffee chat show every Saturday morning and Tracy's on here with me giving her time and she gets paid a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of money for me to help me. And Kim, has a job with us to keep the sites running and the content and all of that. And all of that comes out of my retainers from my clients. Because if I could do one thing before I were to leave the planet, it would be to have you guys all recognize that you have the ability to change your own lives. You have the tools and the wisdoms and the abilities to do something different with your life, to get yourself where you want to be. And the only thing that's standing in your way is you. Okay? So for these conversations, for the things that I bring up, for the notebook that I tell you to go get, the reason being is this is not just one and done. This is not just one conversation, okay? It's not. It's a constant conversation. It's a weekly, oh, okay, I just realized this, and let me write that down. So get a notebook. It's hardly going to cost you anything, right? Go get what do they call those? A Mead wire-bound notebook from the CVS, maybe $2. Get the notebook. Write it down. If I can get my ass up on Saturday morning, okay, and do this after I worked, 80 hours this week and I'm still have to work today and whatever, you guys can get a notebook and write it down, okay? Honest to God, you can. All right, someone's asking who helps you with this kind of stuff. A life coach, Tracy does some effectiveness coaching for us. We do it at a really low rate. There's a button on, and I also am doing a very, very small leadership intensive group, which is just my way of coaching 3 people at a time. We've got one group going. We've got a new one coming. I do it on Saturday morning right after coffee chat. excuse me, the next one we're opening up is at 10 a.m. I'm only taking 3 or 4 people. But there is a button on the site. If you go to revealingleaders.com, you go all the way to the bottom. It says if you're interested in the leadership intensive, you can click here. You can email me. You can tell me why you would want to be, part of that. It's $100 a month. It's super cheap. It's 2 live Zooms with me a month. Excuse me. And we're taking waiting lists. The max we're going to take is 4 people. It's me, Tracy, and 4 people. The reason for that is, first of all, you guys wouldn't be able to afford my normal billable hourly rate for my job. Secondly, I'm doing this because oftentimes there are people that would like to work with me a little bit more. And so I just offer these tiny opportunities because it's all the time I really have to give. It is the stuff on Saturday mornings, all right? So let's get back to our real work here. My point in all of this is get the notebook and start writing down these questions and jot yourself some notes and thoughts as I'm going through this, because go back and revisit it during the week. Go back and watch October 2nd. Go back and watch October 9th. Rewatch this later on today or listen to it while you're driving on the podcast. Okay? You need to start looking at what versions of yourself did you create to survive, and are they ready to be released? Because my guess is that they're no longer serving you. You can be wealthy, educated, accomplished, discerning. You can be whatever the hell you want to be. If you want to go to Harvard Business School, I have news. You can do that because I'm doing it. I'm taking 3 back-to-back certificates to polish up leadership skills. I'm in the middle. I just finished 1 certificate program. I'm about to start another on October 27th. I always wanted to go to Harvard Business School, and so now I am at 53 years old, and I'm taking some certificate classes from them, Harvard Business School online. So there's ways for you to do whatever the hell you want to do. Tracy, who's one of my best friends for 30 years, you'll see her here commenting. She helps Kim and I with the Working Warrior Mom and with Revealing Leaders. And, she wanted to have a beautiful car, and she wants to be wealthy. And I had to really crack into her the last time she came to visit me for my birthday in August, and she's coming back this week because my mother's funeral memorial service is next Saturday morning, and we will be live next Saturday morning before I go to the service. My mom passed away a year ago. We weren't able to do the services because of COVID. So this week is kind of all about that. We're having an event at a hotel ballroom. My mother was a coach. She was a prosperity coach and a life coach, and she had a following that was smaller than ours, but a strong following just the same. So Tracy had a conversation. She's saying cheap. I called her a cheap honker. I accused her of being a cheap honker. And I said to her, you're wealthy. Like, she has circumstances in her life, and she is wealthy. And she was living in this poverty conversation in her mind. And she doesn't mind me sharing this with you, by the way. Just so you don't think I'm sharing this with her without her consent. She had a conversation called, she didn't have enough, or she was poor and she had to struggle, and she had to, because we were both working single moms and we both didn't get child support, okay? She does well for herself. So when she was here last, I broke into that with her. I accused her of being a cheap honker. She let me accuse her, and she went home and she bought herself a luxury vehicle, at a price that she could afford and was comfortable with, and all of that. Lynn Marie's reminding us that we were together on a coffee chat. It would have been my birthday weekend. So like October, whatever the Sunday was, like October 26, 27, 28, something like that. So if you go back, you can see us both on the coffee chat where we're talking about the cheap honker stuff, and it's kind of funny. And we'll be together next Saturday morning here talking about the tools right before we go to host about 80 people for my mother's memorial service. Okay, so that was a conversation that Tracy was stuck in. I was stuck in a conversation similar in some ways, that I don't have enough. I was also stuck in a conversation about, what was possible with me taking some courses and polishing up some skill sets. And I had a conversation called, I always wished that my mom hadn't taken me out of Boston Latin, because then I would have went to BC, and then I probably would have went to Harvard, and instead she moved us to Cape Cod, and I was kind of stuck in that conversation. And now I'm 53, and I was able to sign up and take 3 back-to-back certificates from Harvard Business School online, and at the end of that I will have a specialization from Harvard Business School in leadership and management. So it's different than a full 4-year degree would have been, or graduate school would have been, but it's still, so you can elevate and change your conversations and crack that shit open and be purposeful and powerful in your life. All right. So let's just quickly, it's 9:00 and I like to keep this pretty tight. We have a few more minutes. So let me just give you an analogy of what digging in and finding these conversations and versions of yourself are like. It's like a refrigerator, okay? When you have a refrigerator and there's something rotting in your refrigerator and it's stuck way down in a drawer in the back, let's just say it's an orange and it's rotting, and you keep smelling something in the fridge and things don't seem right. And it's kind of like Michelle's analogy. There's like an old operating system running and the new one's trying to run. So it's like you have fresh food in your refrigerator, but you keep opening it and something smells rotten and things don't seem to be as fresh as they should be. And it seems like something's wrong, but you can't figure out what the hell's going on. Clean the fridge! Clean your mind, clean your behaviors, clean out the versions of yourself. This is a work that you guys, I'm tasking you to do this over the next week. Clean out the versions of yourself that are old, inhibiting your progress, and no longer serving you. You created versions of yourself to survive shit in the past. It's in the past. You don't have to be locked into that anymore. You're not that person anymore. You have different things available to you to deal with shit that comes your way. You can deal with it in a different way. You're not stuck. I don't care what your mind tells you. You're not broke. You're not without options. You're not. So get into the fridge with some bleach and some Lysol wipes and see what the hell is rotting in there. What is holding you back? What is keeping you from being powerful and purposeful? If you were abused or you were mistreated or you had trauma or there was, some awful emotional, psychological trauma way back in your history, I get it. We all have shit. It doesn't have to run you anymore. You don't have to be stuck in that. You don't have to be afraid of that. You don't have to be fearful of that. You've got the power to break out of that. You can be purposeful and powerful in your life from now on. From this moment forward, you can call the shots. Get some plastic gloves, get some bleach wipes, open the refrigerator door, and start digging into all the drawers. What the hell's in there? What happened to me when I was 17? What happened to me when I was 12? What happened to me when I was 13? Who did I decide to be in that moment? What did I tell myself then? Dig in. It's going to be painful. It's going to be powerful. It might cause you to shed some tears. It might bring up some emotions. It may do all of that, and that's okay. You're doing linguistic surgery is cutting out the speaking that doesn't work. This is like spiritual surgery, okay? You're digging into the versions of yourself that are no longer serving you, all right? And you're getting rid of them. You're finding that rotten orange. You're throwing it in the trash can. Get rid of it. You are finding that version of yourself when you were a young girl. Maybe somebody mistreated you. Maybe a dude did something to you that wasn't cool and nobody believed you or nobody did anything about it. I get it. Shit happens. We all have shit. Trust me. We do. Including me. It doesn't have to run you. It doesn't have to control you. It doesn't have to define you. You get to say what defines you. You get to say who you are. You get to be wealthy, accomplished, beautiful, educated, fit, fantastic, knowledgeable, discerning, filled with wisdom. Whatever the hell it is you want for your life, you get to say. The versions that you created of yourself to survive whatever you had to survive, it's time to let those things go. It's time to let those versions of yourself go. Angie's asking, how do we get rid of those things? The first thing, Angie, is to recognize it. So the first thing you have to do before you can get the refrigerator clean is you have to see what the hell's rotting in there. Okay? If there's an orange way in the back, underneath, in a drawer, behind something that's even fresh, get it. Figure it out. See where it is. Okay? To use Michelle's example, if there's a DOS old operating system running the computer and the new one, Windows, is trying to work on top of it, you first have to recognize that the DOS system is in there, that it's running things. Okay? You have Erica just joined us. Erica, go back and watch this from the beginning. You'll want to hear this one or listen to it on the podcast. And you're welcome for the swag. Angie asks, how do we get rid of these things? The first thing is to recognize it, okay? It's like when you're an alcoholic. You can't do anything in the 12-step program until you admit that you're an alcoholic. You have to recognize it. If I can't say that a version of myself is controlling my life unless I see it. I can't say that a conversation is running me unless I see it. Okay? So that's your first step. Once you recognize it, then you get to choose. Then you can choose it or not. If I have a shackle on my wrist and I don't know it, how the hell am I going to get it off there? Okay? I have to see it so that I can get rid of it, so that I can make a conscious choice about whether I not want to keep it there or not. All right, I don't like to run over. I like to keep these tight at 30 minutes for you guys. So we'll continue talking about this next week a little bit, and then we'll talk about some of the tools. So next week, October 23rd, we start giving you some of the tools, gratitude journals, bookending your days, the glory story, different pieces, and that'll be a two-parter as well. And we'll recap this a little bit because this is a big conversation. So we'll revisit this a little bit over the next few weeks as well. All right, so for our swag, every Saturday morning I try to say something for you guys to email me so we can give away some swag. So the first 3 to 5 people to email me either today or at some point in the next couple of days, a couple of the versions of yourself that you recognize are no longer serving you, versions that you created to survive, just kind of telling me what that is, we will send you a swag bag. And that's a free gift from us. It's got t-shirts and mouse pads and my books, and it's cool. We've got some people on here that received them this week from last week. So you've got to send me that and your address. Please send your mailing address because then I don't have to turn around and ask you for it. So the first 3 to 5 people to email me the conversations that you're seeing that are no longer serving you, the versions of yourself that you created to survive, like what that looks like for you, telling me a little bit about that, we will send you some swag. In the meantime, go to revealingleaders.com. I encourage you to re-watch this or re-listen to it, maybe later today, maybe later in the week, because this is one that, if you can hear what I'm saying to you in the last 30 minutes, if you can really let that sink in, it is life-changing. to dig in and really understand and start looking at this and start releasing the versions of yourself that you created to survive that are no longer serving you. This is powerful stuff, okay? So really, I encourage you to go back and listen again. So join us at revealingleaders.com. You can find out everything you want to know. If you're new to Coffee Chat, you can read my bio there. You can find out about me. You can go see previous Coffee Chats. Guys, have a great week. We will see you next Saturday morning. It is my mother's memorial service, but Tracy will be here. She's flying in from Indiana on Thursday. We're going to host 80 people to celebrate my mother's life, and we will be with you next Saturday morning prior to leaving for that event. That is, I feel like, what my mom would have wanted me to be doing. So we'll be doing that. I also encourage you to be purposeful and powerful in your life from this moment forward. All right. We'll see you. Say goodbye to our podcast, folks. I will see you, Facebook fam. We'll see you next week. And get the notebook. Do the work. Listen to what I'm saying to you. It will change your life if you are willing to do the work and you let it. Take care.